these negotiations, we're taking it from 2022, when the collective bargaining agreement was coming into place, and all the way up to today.
Yes.
Perhaps if you just briefly, I don't want to stay there too long, because we want to come to the update. Just give us the background of what has transpired since to date.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Remember, as you rightly said in the background, the negotiations for this year were really driven by one factor, the economic review. So whatever was going to come out of the negotiations would have come out because of the agreement that the parties would have reached around what they believe the economy was performing at. If the economy was performing well according to the parties, then perhaps the 5% would have been increased. So the reason then for going to the table was that because we had agreed to review the economy first before we look at whether the 5% will go up or down, we sat down and both parties gave their view of the performance of the economy. And out of that then, we agreed pretty much in principle that the economy was not doing well. However, the parties' views around what should be done was different. From the government perspective, the view was that we know that we're going to end this financial year in a deficit, and even next year. But the parties felt that, yes, even though we're going to end it in a deficit, you can still increase. So the discomfort was, can we allow this economy to go into a deeper deficit?
Okay.
Or could we not?
Because when you met then, this was the March negotiation.
Yes.
The five cooperating unions were also to engage with their membership. So coming back on the 28th, what were the factors put on the table from the unions?
That's a very good question as well. So what happened was that because we could not agree on whether the economy could handle the increase beyond 5%. We had to go on a cooling off period. And that period is the time that the unions also took to go and consult with their members. That consultation is always important for the parties because you could go for a change of mandate, an adjustment of your mandate, and things that will help you negotiate differently. So when we came back to the table, that's when we then went again and asked each other questions around whether we can still increase or we can't. So what was different this time around was now going deeper into trying to find each other around whether the government was able to go beyond 5% or the union was able to go below. Yes, they were able to. Yes, so the initial demand or proposal went down from 15% to 13%. And the government still stayed at 5%. And the reason for the 5% was exactly as we had said it before, we could not afford a further deficit. But it's not really about the deficit. If you look at what's happening in our economy, you'll see that there's a lot that is working against us. One, the drought. This year, you know how we were excited around the more litlotlo, believing that the bumper harvest will help the economy. When there's drought like that,
and then El Nino phenomenon happened.
Exactly. A lot of subsidies have to then be taken into consideration by government to subsidize the farmer, cattle feed and all kinds of feed have to be subsidized. Not only that, if you look at where we are now with the diamond sales, they have not been performing, and those ones go directly to our revenue. If you look at the fact that we can't make as much money as we were hoping to make, it means that our pocket is not that deep. And many more reasons.
Let me engage you here, Macholo, that when you are reviewing the health of the economy for this negotiation, but beyond just the health, which is the status of the economy, do you also factor in other factors in terms of this is the health of the economy, but what is the performance of the economy, which comes back to you as the DPSM and your membership in a very large large way.
Yes.
So do issues of performance come also into the negotiation, that perhaps the economy is at this health status, maybe is looking or calling on us as the public service to also contribute to a better performance of the economy? Does that come into the table?
This is the best question I've ever been asked. This is what we should be doing.
Okay.
We should be looking at our performance as a nation as well, and how we could make sure that our economy performs. So if you look at the public service at large, my dear, we're not performing as we should be. Our performance matrices, the productivity levels are really, really low. And we believe that if everybody, pulled up their socks and did the best they could, we know we would be doing much better. And I think going forward, these are the conversations that we will now be having with the parties to say, it's not about how much to increase the salaries by only. It's not about how much I will get. It should also be about how much am I giving? Yes, am I working for only what I think I should produce? No. If you look at all our matrices, look at how much we're putting into agriculture. We're not getting back what we should be getting. Same thing with all our matrices in other areas.
Right.
Of course, sometimes the parties will say it is you, the employer.
That's not enabling.
It's not how about you as a person from your inside? Are you happy to come to work and give 10% worth of work?
Well, they cite that, the union cite that their ask or their demand is for just that very reason, to motivate, and also to boost the morale of the workers as part of the argument that we've heard across your negotiation time.
But can we imagine if anything that were to motivate us in life is only money and not how much I give back so that I can get more money?
Right.
So in terms of education, for us, we think it's time to take a shift so that people know they are responsible for the results.
Absolutely.
It's not one person only.
So let's hone in on this. Let me give you the time to crystallize it. What is the outcome of the May 28th, 29th negotiation?
Yes, the outcome is that we have officially reached a deadlock.
Okay.
So what that means is that we are very far apart, 13% from the union, 5% government. So that's very far apart. And we couldn't see any way of getting closer. And as a result of that, we declared a dispute.
Okay.
So the dispute.
And this is the first time in this negotiation that you have declared a deadlock, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let's ask then. Then that means what next?
Yes, a deadlock is means that we have not agreed, and what it means then going forward is that two things that could happen according to the processes that are driven by the Public Service Act. We should or we could be going to the Ministry of Labour to go and lodge that dispute, and the dispute will obviously be lodged by the unions as they are aggrieved. And then after that, if we still remain or fail to find each other, then either go to the industrial court or any other processes. So what this time around what we have agreed is that we will go for private arbitration. Okay. Yes.
Let me quickly ask this because we are aware, as you're calling the other party of this negotiation, the cooperating public service unions, and that implies that there are other unions that are not at this negotiation. Then what happens? And especially when we're at this state now.
Yes.
Because they're all public servants.
They're all public servants. So we have 9 unions. The other 4 unions had not put any condition to the 5% for this year. So that's why we didn't go to the table with them. So we just implemented the 5. So their settlement agreement that was reached in 2022 did not have a condition of further negotiations or review of anything in 2024. That's why there is no problem on the table with them. But with these unions, That condition is the one that put us on the table. So what it means is that when we have reached a dispute with them like that, and we go for arbitration, whatever comes out of arbitration, first and foremost, is not appealable. So because it will not be appealable, it will also be implemented across the board for everyone. And that's the principle of negotiation. Whatever you agree with the parties, even if you had many different negotiating parties, whatever you agree, if with one party you agree on something higher, you then apply it to everyone.
Yes. Macholo, unfortunately, this is all the time that we have. And I would like to extend this invitation here today to engage on the across the board senior officers as opposed to the pyramid model and that negotiation.
Wonderful.
This will save for another day. Thank you for coming through, for updating us.
Thank you so much. It's really been good.
We're getting an update this morning on the negotiation between Botswana government and the 5 cooperating public service trade unions, which are Blau, Abopeu, Abosetu, BTU, and Bonu, dating back to that collective bargaining agreement that was set in motion back in 2022, and what negotiation points have come through, and the outcome being that both parties have declared a deadlock.